Some of the things I love about this dessert is how budget friendly it is, how easy it is to make, and how it looks like you've spent hours in the kitchen. But friend, it's easy and I'm gonna show you how to do it today. The first thing that we're gonna do is make the simple syrup because that has to cool before we start the process. I'm just taking half a cup of sugar, half a cup of water, and I'm gonna let it dissolve, and then I'm gonna let it simmer and boil for about 10 to 15 minutes on medium-high heat or just until it gets a little thicker. As the name suggests, simple syrup is really simple to make, but what I love about it is how versatile it is because you can use it in so many different desserts. And it could be poured on the dessert, hot or cold, depending on the dessert, so just make sure you know what the dessert requires and whether you should be making it at the beginning or during the time that the dessert is baking. For our dessert today, we're making it early so that it can cool down. And once it's done, we take it off the heat and then we add a little bit of lime juice. It's about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. The lime juice cuts the sweetness and also gives it a little bit of freshness. And it's similar to how you would add salt to brownies or cookie dough. And most Middle Eastern desserts call for rose water to be added to the simple syrup too, but I don't personally like it. So if you want to add it, you can add a teaspoon as well. Now onto the filling. I've added to my food processor about 1 cup of walnuts and 1 full sleeve of graham crackers, and then about 3 or 4 tablespoons of white sugar. If you don't have a food processor, that's totally fine. You can put this in a sealable bag and then either pound it with a heavy pan or you can chop it up with a knife, but you want the consistency to be a little bit like coarse salt would be. Just like this. It's coarse, but it's not big chunks. Now on to the fun part and the part that has to go the fastest, the assembly. Phyllo dough can sometimes be a challenge because the sheets are so thin that they can dry out, and then if it starts to dry out, they'll flake and the sheets will start to break on you. So just try to work as fast as you can. Luckily for you and for me, this whole process is pretty easy, so you can work quickly and it doesn't dry out that much. I did attempt at first to cover it with a paper towel that was damp and then a dish towel, but that made it a little too soggy, so you don't have to do that. If you work fast enough, it should be fine. If you feel like you need a little bit more time, you could just put a dish towel without any damp paper towel on top of it and it should be okay. And my dough sheets were actually sticking a little bit to the plastic wrap that it was in, so I had to be really careful when I was unrolling it. So you see, I'm using the dish towel right here with the damp paper towel. And then I noticed, even just in the first layer, that it's probably not necessary because it was starting to make my layers soggy, which actually made it harder to work with. So I just pushed them to the side. On this particular day, I was actually making this vegan, so I have just regular vegetable oil here. But on a regular day, I usually make this with melted clarified butter. You can use clarified butter, regular butter, vegetable oil, whatever type of fat you want, but you just need to make sure that the layers have a lot of that fat all over them because that's what makes it crispy. Now, in hindsight, I could have probably added a little bit more, but I'm always trying to lessen the amount of fat and calories that I add to my desserts. So by all means, add more because it makes it crispy and delicious. And in hindsight, I should have probably added a little bit more here. Now, you put the first layer, you add your oil or butter, then you add a second layer, and you repeat that step until you have 4 layers of phyllo dough. On this particular day, we were invited to a gathering and I was in a rush, so I completely skipped this next step. You should also add oil or butter to this top layer before you add your filling. Cool? Okay. Now we add our filling in a line towards the bottom. And it doesn't have to be nice and neat or perfect. Just make sure that you don't overfill it because it will be hard to roll and they'll actually come out of the sides. Now all you're gonna do is just roll it from top to bottom, put it in a cookie sheet on a cookie sheet, and then repeat the process with all the other dough and mixture and oil until you're completely finished with the phyllo dough. At this time, my oven was pretty small, which meant that I had to use really small cookie sheets, which is why it looks a little wrinkly. That's totally fine, actually. There are some traditionally made desserts that are meant to look like this anyway, so it doesn't change anything about the dessert. Now, obviously, if you have a bigger sheet pan, you'll be able to just lay it easily without it crinkling, but I actually think that the crinkling part does really well in making the simple syrup stick towards the end. With a paring knife, you're going to just cut through the dough so that you have smaller rolls that are about 2 to 3 inches. This makes it the perfect finger food dessert. Then spread the rest of your oil or butter on top so that the top will get nice and crispy and golden brown. Oh, and the recipe for the simple syrup and the baklava rolls will be in the description box. Now I'm gonna pop this in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes or until it's a little bit deeper golden brown than this. Because I was in a rush, I pulled it out a little early and it's a little pale, but it tasted good, so all's well that ends well. You want to make sure you put the cold syrup right on top of the hot dessert right when it comes out of the oven for baklava rolls or baklava in general. If you put hot syrup on the hot dessert, it will get soggy and it won't hold as well. So you need to make sure that your syrup is cooled down. And that's it. Super easy peasy dessert, budget friendly, and it looks like you spent hours in the kitchen. Now comment below and let me know, are you gonna try to make this at home? And if you are, can you send me a pic? I'd love to see it.